Ta-da! It says we are live. Hello, hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the group book discussion of Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. I think we've said this before, but I really love that we kept the scary horror vibe of last year's group book. Yeah, because last year we had, well, that one was actually like straight up horror.
Yeah, it
But
was.
it's
Yeah.
more mm, it's more like mysterious, eerie, gloomy, gothic, but it was really really fun. So Sophie, would you like to give us your synopsis of the book?
Oh my god. Um, I was not prepared for that. Okay. I guess I will say that as Paula mentioned, it's not really horror. It's more like a romance book, a historical romance book, following those two people who knew each other when they were very young, and that for different circumstances get pulled apart, and then it's a very angsty story of them coming back together, and then they're vampires, and it takes place during the US invasion of Mexico. And so yeah, there's a lot of, I think it's a book that mixes a lot of things. So there's like vampires, there's a romance, there's historical like events, and then there's also a western vibe because they're kind of
Mhm.
cowboys. So it's a book that mixes a lot of things, and I think it does it really well.
It does. It does. I was actually, when I was thinking about describing it for like another video, I was like, this is so much. This is so much. There's a lot to there's a lot to the synopsis, and it was a really fun book to read, especially because I had to read it really fast. But it was but it was really fun. Kande, you were the first one of us who finished it. So
Yes,
what
for
were
the first
the moments that sort of stick out the most?
time. Well, I think the writing was like I really like the writing, so I that made me like okay, I need to keep reading. Um, but also I was like maybe I should reread it before the live show because I read it so early that now I'm like oh wait hold on I'm gonna remember the book right now. But no, but I do. Um, I think it was just to for me it was like how angsty it was that was like oh wow I this feels like one of my favorite historical romance. And but instead of being like oh we can be together and oh we are getting interrupted when we're trying to like to kiss because of like drama, and we're gonna get caught up now we are getting interrupted by like this weird supernatural thing that's hunting us in the forest, well not in the forest in the desert, and it's like yeah I'm in. I like that.
Yeah, I really like the writing too. Yeah, I I also find the whole vibe to be very much on point. Like it really captures that gothic feeling. I really
Yes.
like that, which I think is super important. I mean, arguably it's the most important part in a gothic book. So yeah, I
Yeah,
like that a
like
lot.
also
Uh
like I was distracted at first. I was trying to post that we were live. It's
oh
not
sorry.
like I didn't want to listen to Sophie. I'm too old sometimes. I mean I know I'm young, but sometimes I feel like an old person with Instagram like let me
Yeah.
find how to post the story. But I think it I think I posted so we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, yay. Thank you for sharing that. Honestly, Kande has been like killing it with the social media game for Latinx Book Bingo. Sophie, like literally, you both are so much better than me when it comes to this. But yeah, like I really love sharing this readathon with you all.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but okay, one of the things that struck me the most was, or that stuck out the most to me, was like how quickly things started, despite this being a 12-hour long audiobook, and still having moments of like the pacing is really good in the book, and I think it's hard to nail such a good pacing, given how like boom quick it started. Yeah, I really like that too. I also really like that this feels like a telenovela with the rich
Yes.
socialite heiress and the poor
Yeah.
servant boy who, yeah, I really enjoy that.
It's like Pasión de Gavilanes, but
It is.
in the past,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
a historical
and
version.
I
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
feel, yeah, and I feel like that's where, to me, it felt very historical romance too, because I know that sometimes I will be frustrated, but like in a good way. Like it's not like annoying me, but like I was like want to shake the book because I was like, just talk to each other, just talk.
Yeah.
um and I but I feel like, yeah, it makes sense. Like sometimes when characters, and I think we kind of talk about it on our last reading sprint, but like when they don't talk for a lot of years, right?
Mm.
and
Ah, yes.
it's something about like the miscommunication. We fought, but in here it makes sense. Like in the past, it makes sense that you don't talk with someone because you have to send like letters, and
Mm.
getting to know what's going on with the other person is harder. So that it has passed so much time, and now they don't know how to talk to each other, and also because of like, um, well, I don't know. Is that a spoiler? Like he what he thinks about her.
No.
But okay. In so it kind of makes sense that they have had such a hard time talking to each other. Uh, it so there's I was like being frustrated, but I think it was very well done, and it didn't like slow down the pacing of the story. Like, oh no, we are just wasting time with them fighting right now. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Also,
agree.
I guess we can,
Yeah,
talk about
definitely. We can
spoilers.
definitely talk about
Yeah,
spoilers.
because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to like, I don't know, um didn't want to say anything before like being like, oh, we're gonna talk about spoiler.
No,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
No, I think
definitely.
we can spoil the book. So
Yeah.
Okay.
if you, yeah. Um.
Sometimes also spoilers make the experience of reading the book a lot more fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it does for me. I don't know for
Yeah,
everyone else.
same. Same, because it's like, how did we get here?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think beyond the romance, which I think it's like very. I was very invested in the romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly. But beyond that, I think I really like the way it kind of discussed class dynamics during this time
Hmm.
between the rancheros and the, what was it?
I guess hacendados, like maybe not
Yeah.
hacendados, but like, the the
Because I
the
think
the
rancheros,
bourgeois.
yeah, I think rancheros were the ones that own the places, and rancheros
Ah,
and vaqueros.
yeah, sorry, I got.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I think that was very interesting. Like the focus of the book is the romance, but she mixes so many kind of interesting conversation there, like about class dynamics within, you know, the Mexican society, but also all this imperialism and dynamics with the US as well. And so I think
Yes,
that's interesting.
yes, yes, yes. Agreed. Yeah, I Yeah, I like that a lot too, and I like that in especially now that like there's a lot more talks about the way women are represented slash should be represented and stuff. I really like that this book didn't completely flipped it, because sometimes I feel like that's what happens when you try too hard
Mm,
with the independent woman and stuff like that. And I like that Nena is still like she's trying to prove herself in the sense that she doesn't want to get married off to some person, and she has a clear plan. She knows she just can't be like, but I'm an independent woman, I should be allowed to make my own choices and all of that. I like that she is like methodical, and I like that she still has some things to work on. Like her she it's not something that it's just in her. Like she has to work up the courage to do and to say the things that she wants to say, which
Yeah.
yeah.
I think is true even now. Like as much
Mm,
as we live in a different uh in a different time where, you know, we have a lot more rights and all of that, there's still a lot of things that women are not allowed to do or that we would want to do, or at least for me, that I would
mhm,
like to do, but I know I just can't be like irrational about it. And I like that Nena is not irrational about it either.
mhm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I think that it's something that really, I thought it was very well done. Like when I started the book, I think I talked about it on live. That I really like that. So Nina is like, okay, I don't understand what it means to be not rich
Yeah.
and what it means to having to work and depend of someone else to live. And but in he is also like, okay, I don't understand what it means to be a woman. Even if
Yeah.
you are rich, you also have you are not free. Like and I think that is like one of the tensions points of the conflicts in their relationship and the story. And I think it makes a lot of sense and it worked very well because it's just not, oh, she has he has all the power, and it's just her, poor Nena, that can do whatever she wants. And it's also not like, oh, she has all the power and it's because he's poor that the problem is like we both have some freedoms, and but also are like caught up in the society that's very um, marginalized. We are also marginalized, and I thought that made their conflict and they having such a hard time communicating and be able to be together make a lot of sense. It wasn't
Yeah.
as easy. I mean, like, okay, just tell your father that you want to be married with me and we can leave.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it, and it's over. No, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I also really, really love that, because I notice, especially now, and I don't know why, but I love that the stakes are high and they stay high. Like it's
Hmm.
not like you can just be like, "Hey, I want to marry him," and the dad goes like, "Well, okay, if that's gonna make you happy," because then it's like,
Yeah.
then what was all this for? I really like that it stayed sort of consistent, and that I don't know. As I've gotten back into writing, even if it's just fanfic, I realize how hard it is to make it hard for the characters, or to create characters that are difficult to empathize with. And I mean, the dad is definitely difficult to empathize with.
Hmm.
So I really like that it gave us that to sort of hang on to, even if Nena still has her shortcomings as a privileged girl from the 1800s.
Yeah. And I definitely liked seeing her kind of understand where he was coming from. I
Yeah.
Mm,
and start seeing her father in a different light, like understanding he's not some benevolent
Yeah.
guy who is, has the best interest in his heart for all these people that work for him. Um, so yeah, that was interesting too. Seeing her realize like, oh, he's not this great guy that I had
yeah, and
in my
and I
mind.
think that also goes, but it's not. It's also like it's the relationship is just not okay. Tell your father that you want to marry me, and let's live. And it's also no. Let's make sure that you can keep working for my father, but it's in more equal ground, because that's also not the answer. In For all that she loves her father, he is still like a not a good employer. So yeah, I think that brought like a lot of, like you were saying, Paul, like the stakes were made the stakes in this story higher. It make the conflict uh more understanding, like, oh, okay, I get why they can be together. And also I don't know. It brought like more complexity to the topic. It's just not like, oh, it's a wealthy versus rich story, or it's just us being a woman in the 1800s in Mexico. It's not just that.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 I also really like the pining of it all because they're both
Mm,
really still like they still hold a lot of love in their hearts for each other despite how infuriating the circumstances can be when they clash, which
yes.
I also think that's like it's another great strength of the book because it doesn't just like water down the things that could be watered down when they were kids because it was not a conversation that they had. It was just like we're kids, we're hanging out, we're friends, it's great, it's amazing. And then when you're older, you do have to, or I guess you can acknowledge it since you're little, but in this case, I like that that I mean, in from like the mom's perspective, when she is like, how dare you come back with this vaquero? Like people are gonna start talking, blah blah blah. And then she tells, I think the dad, right? She
Hmm.
goes like, I told you they were spending too much time together, blah blah blah. I like that in her head or in someone's head, I don't know. In someone's head, it was like, oh, they're just kids. They'll grow out of it. It's not like real love. It's not romantic or anything. She's gonna know that her place is somewhere higher than his.
Mm,
And
yes.
I like that they are now talking about their social status because yeah, I that's another thing that I really loved about it, that it doesn't like what you just said about that them talking about class and all of that. I really like that it's done in a way that again it's not super in your head, in your face, or like hammering you over the head with it.
Yeah, and also I think it goes with like, as children, um, sometimes you don't see the differences. uh and in, like they say in the book, like, we grew up together, we were allowed to run together, and it got to a point when Nina is starting to be considered like a lady now, and it's like, no, you can't be with the poor, with the
Yeah,
working class, you have to stay with us.
yeah,
And it, and well, I don't know, I thought it was it was very well done.
yeah. Same, same, same. Hold
I don't
on.
know if you guys want to talk about the big criticism of that people have about this book. Do
Oh,
you
that
guys know
it's
what?
not scary enough.
No, that there are not enough vampires. That the book is called Vampires of El Norte, and there are not enough vampires. And
Oh, okay.
I have, you don't know, like, a lot of my friends on Goodreads have this comment on their reviews, and people that usually have very nuanced and interesting things to say about books, their comment is like there were not enough vampires, and I'm like, okay, let's I don't know. This comment frustrates me a little bit for two reasons. Okay, there are little. I think this is where we can start. There are vampires on one
Yes.
hand, like literal vampires, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they're done like they're very interesting because they're not the usual vampire.
Mm-hmm.
They're much more animalistic and like different from what we see in other books. So there are vampires, and I think I mean they're present in the story, like they're there. But also, I feel like the book has a kind of a symbolic way of like the vampires in the title are symbolic, like vampires of the north, the vampires of the north, and it's a story about the U.S. invasion of Mexico. I think I don't know, in my mind, it's very clear that the vampires are symbolic for the people coming to take the land and the resources, and hunting and murdering the Mexicans that
Yeah.
were in that land. So to me, it's pretty obvious that the vampires are, as much as they're literal vampires, the vampires are symbolic as well. And
Yes.
so I think, I don't know, I think it went over a lot of people's head, the symbolic kind of
Yeah, and it
aspect
doesn't.
of it.
I'm pretty sure I got the book from the library, but I listened to the audiobook, but it doesn't. I kind of remember kind of marking one quote that said something about like it literally said like those gringos, those Yankees, they are like vampires. Like isn't it a character saying that in the book? Like
I
they're
don't know.
coming to us, coming here and being like chupa sangre. Like doesn't it? And here I'm
I
paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure it says something about the Yankees being like vampires.
I don't remember if it's in the book, but in the author notes, there's a quote from someone from that
Oh,
time. There's a
you
quote
are
for someone
right.
from that
It's not
time,
in
and
the book. It's a
it.
it's a it's from the author's note. You're right.
I was thinking after I finished it and read the author's note, I was thinking maybe that should have been the epigraph, so it was clear to people. But then I was thinking like, to me it was pretty evident, and I think
Yeah.
it, it's that line of, am I catering to white people who might not understand, or am I just, so I didn't know. I thought maybe the quote that she put on the author note could have been at the beginning in the epigraph, but it's like that line that I don't know where to draw it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember the quote, but I thought it was in a character, but I look it up in the author's note. It is right there. It's
Yeah,
from Cheno Cortina that I think um he was a and he lived in the state of Texas. Uh wait, yeah. And he's saying like flocks of vampires in the guise of men came and scattered themselves in the settlements. And like you said, Sophie, for me it was very clear that the vampires in the book are not the evil, not even evil, because you get to the end and you know it. They are just
Yeah.
like little animals. Oh, well, little no, but like
Yeah. Beast.
wild
Yeah.
animals. This it's like I don't know, a tiger or a lion in the savannah. And the real vampires of the story are just the junkies. And to me, it was very clear. And then I got to the quote and was like, yes. But you're right. I think if that could have been like in the beginning of the story, like before chapter one, and people got understood what the story was going to be about, then I think maybe it wouldn't be like so many people like upset about it. And I feel the same way. When you were talking, I was thinking about Mexican Got It too,
mm.
and I think a lot of people. I haven't read the book, but I kind of know about it, and I know a lot of people complain how it wasn't really horror, and like I think sometimes we misunderstand that some of those stories are horror, not because they have like this evil creature or has many jump scares or it's very gruesome. It's just because it's a reality. Like the horror part is not the magical part or the supernatural part. It's what it actually happened in real life. And so what it scares me is not that this Wild West in the book, is that I know that Yankees invaded Mexico and they committed atrocities. And so that is like, I don't know. I feel like that's the scary part. Not,
Yeah,
no, it's not. We don't. Um, it's just like we are the best. Like you were saying. Sorry, I just keep. I guess I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I agree with Sophie.
yeah, definitely. And I think I have kind of fallen into the trap of being like, it's not horror, just being preemptive so people don't
Mm,
go into it with the false expectations. But I think because some of my favorite horror is the one that leans more like literary horror, which is usually
mm,
Yeah.
there's no jump scares, there's no like creatures, it's just the reality that is
It's just like the
scary.
situation is scary. It's not
Yeah,
right,
necessarily the
exactly that. Yes.
yeah. And so there's no, I don't know. But yeah, I have fallen into a trap. I usually say it's not horror because I know people think of horror and think of something different, and I'm like, don't go into it expecting that.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I don't know. And also, I feel like gothic horror is so like there's other things like the atmosphere and the the eeriness that make it horror, even if it's
Hmm.
not gruesome or you know or full of jump scares and and things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like when I wrote like my mini review on Goodreads, I said this book is perfect for romance readers that wants to get to horror, because that's how I felt. Like I my Goodreads friends, I saw a lot of people complaining about like there is too much romance in this story, and it was like that's the best
Yeah,
part. I mean, that was my favorite part in the story.
same.
And I know at the end of the day, like everyone has their own opinion, but yeah, I also get like you were saying, Sophie, a little bit frustrated when I see that people don't get like you can not like it. That's fine if it's not like something that works for you, but I get frustrated when you don't get it. Like that was the point. The author did it on purpose. It wasn't like she didn't realize the book wasn't scary enough. She didn't realize she didn't put enough jump scares. That was the point of her story. Maybe you don't like it, and that's fine. You can move on. But yeah, this book made me a lot of think about that. That book I want to read by Mariana Zapata, Mariana Enriquez.
Yeah,
Someone else completely different. One is a romance author, and the other one is a horror. And or Shed of the Night. And I feel like I also saw people. It's a cult book, and it's also have like a horror supernatural aspect, and and to me the most scary part of that story is really not the cult. It's we are using the cult to talk about the dictatorship, and the things they did talk about the book are real things. That's what actually happened in real life, right? We People got disappeared, people were tortured, people were killed in very gruesome ways, and that's not really part of the story. That's what actually happened. So what scares me is that, not that how we do it. I don't know. I guess it's just some people want, if you haven't lived it, or it's not part of your history. I guess sometimes it doesn't, or you don't are not aware about that history. It doesn't really. It just doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just something that maybe flies over your head. You didn't
yeah.
make any sense to you, but yeah, for me, it's very present in the stories.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Like it doesn't have to be, so again, it doesn't have to be in your face. It doesn't have to be literal. There's yeah. I like that it's not, because I wouldn't even say that it's subtle. I'd say that it's there, but uh, it's not visible in the way we are used to it
Mm,
being visible, especially regarding like such a big iconic creature like the vampire. I guess people were, I don't know what they were expecting, but yeah.
yeah, and I guess I know we said it's spoilers, but like in spoilers, like I really like that they are just beasts, scare beasts, and it's just a wild beast being like pushed to kill, but to kill because they're trying to like defend themselves. That it's not like their purpose in life is to kill all humans. They're just trying to live, and I think part of the mystery of not knowing where did they come from. Are they? We have all this mythology that are they like from the Spanish? Are they um, did they always live in here? Uh, where does the vampire exist? Well, where does any animal comes from? Like I don't
Yeah.
know, and it's part of like something that you learn living in the desert. You cannot learn to live with it and respect it and being like stay away. Don't go annoying the beast. And I don't know. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I really, yes. I think the strength of the book relies on the themes not being like preachy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kande, you talked, I want to say it was offline,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember. Like that, like Friends to Lovers isn't really like your jam.
Yes.
But what did you think about the use of that trope in this one?
I think in here, this is like the friends to lovers that I like when they used to be friends and now they are rivals or they dislike each other and now they have to be friends again and then fall in love. And I really love it in here because well, I mean they're not really like rivals or dislike each other, but like they have a lot of to get through
Yeah.
and they're not really friends anymore. So and I really like how they see in each other the things that they like when they're children, but also like they were children and time move on and now they are grown up and they have to kind of learn and meet each other again and then be like learn to be friends and then but their feelings never change. I don't know, I really love it in here. It was so good.
I really like that what you were saying, Candy, that they kept mentioning and they both did that the other person was not the same. Like, I have to meet this person again and get to know her again because it's not the same. It's not the same little kid that I knew. So I like that because that's one thing that I do not like about second chance romances. The whole, yeah, when it's just we were in love with the person that they used to be, and so we end up together. And here I don't think it's that. It's yes, we had this special thing when we were kids, but we have to also get to know the person that we are now.
Yes.
Now talking about the romance, another thing that I really liked was at the end. I mean, they got into their fight and went their separate ways, but they both individually realized that, like, I don't know, like, saw the situation in a different light and came back. And it
Oh
was like
yes.
it was not like one chasing the other or you
Mm-hmm.
know one fighting for the other. No, they both individually realized, um,
Yes.
yeah, that they
And
had screwed up and needed to.
they have to come back and like make fix it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it goes to like we were saying before about how they both need to learn about the things that are a conflict for the other, and because there are no life experiences for them, they don't see why it's a problem for him or why it's a problem for her, and when they have the big conflict, that's where they are. Oh wait, I should have done this, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't have run away, and I should have said something. Um, and so then it's like, okay, we're gonna fight. Both of us are gonna fight for each other instead of being like Winchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, I oh my god. Sorry. I clicked something but I think I fixed it. Um yeah, I really like that as well. That's something that I also really like about this version of a second chance romance, where they were both led to believe something and there was no way for them to clear things up
Mm,
on time. That yeah, I like that as well, because sometimes, I don't know, second chance romance, I like it, but sometimes it's hit or miss for me.
mm,
And I really like that they were both making mistakes even as they try to patch things up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were constantly being like, "Oh, I messed up again. I said something that I shouldn't have," and and I will apologize because I realize now that what I said was wrong or hurt him.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that as well. Oh, I also realized that I talked about the dad, but I didn't really talk about the mom. And I really like that she is really sexist too. Like, I don't know. I just find it so fascinating when we see that nobody is really on her corner,
Mm,
especially given that it's her own family and they both of her parents believe that she should be something else. Like they don't really believe in her being her own person or like standing on her own footing. uh,
mm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
and even her brother, that is the only one defending her, he does it after she tells him, like
Yeah,
that this, then mal this. And not because it's born from him, being like, I'm gonna go defend Nina.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I like that it's like mostly her doing, trying to let people know or like show people that she's okay outside of being accompanied by a man. And I really like that it's about legacy as well for her. Like it's not just about I'm a strong woman, I want to do my own thing. It's also like I really love the rancho, and I can do it on my own. I don't have to get married to someone else and play second fiddle to someone else's family. I can be the person the family needs for this to keep succeeding the way that it
Mhm.
has. Yeah, I really like that about the book. I don't know, the entire like relationship system sounds fascinating to me to even come up with.
Yeah, no, it was so good.
Yeah. So we addressed the romance, we addressed the a little bit of the themes, and we addressed the is it horror debate. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Anything else that like stuck out to you?
I'm trying to think. Uh,
I'm trying to think as well. Oh, I like. I guess you talked about this a little bit, but my doggies were making a lot of noise, so I wasn't able to listen properly. But I like the vampires are these, like, they're both literal and symbolic, like
Mhm.
Sophie talked about, and I like that they are getting trained, like when they meet other vaqueros and they're pretending to be married, and they talk about this, and the other vaqueros are like, they know what they're talking about.
Mm.
I like that too, and I like that that's what makes Nena make the connection in, like, yes, they're beasts, but they're being trained to come against us.
Yeah, and I think that's one. I mean, I love the romance, but I think the vampires were one of my favorite parts of the story, and I love, again, spoiler again, just in case anyone is like decide to watch it out now, but like I it's one of my favorite tropes. One of the villains of the story turned out not to be a villain, and you need to team up with them, team up with them, and to fight someone that's even a bigger bad. And not really in here, but kind of like Nina has to recognize that vampires are part of the desert, part of one of the animals or the beasts that live there. And the ones that actually like the true passages of the story of their conflict, it's the Yankees. And
Yes.
she kind of has to be like, you know what, we are not going to kill all of the vampires because they're just trying to be in peace. They are not killing everyone just because they're brought in here. And I don't know, that's like one of my favorite tropes, and I love when it comes up because it really makes you um it's like your assumptions about what it's been good or bad. And like sometimes conflicts have more complexity. It's just, yes, this is a beast and it's dangerous, but also they're not really trying to kill all of us. Then then are the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed, agreed. Agreed. I think I wrote something. No, I did. Oh, I marked it. I was like in chapter 2 ish, somewhere around the 25-minute mark. They talk about how darkness has a life.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that comes up constantly regarding the symbolism. And yeah, I don't know, that whole thing was very, very good. I was honestly surprised with how much I enjoyed it, especially because you guys knew I was struggling to read stuff. But this one, like, captivated me from the beginning, and it was hard to put it down, honestly. So yeah, it was easy to read. It was very fast. It was really enjoyable, and there's a lot of commentary there that I'm glad that we all really loved.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you want to add, or do you want to wrap it up?
I guess we could talk a little bit about the books we read about the bingo, and
Oh, yeah,
just
definitely.
because it's our last zone.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, Kande, how many books did you read?
I ended up reading 8 books, counting our group book.
Look
Yeah,
at
it was
you.
better than I was expecting. So let me think. I read. It's funny because I ended up reading 2 vampire books, and all my all my vampire books before was like urban fantasy. So it's like I want to hook up with a vampire, and now it's like no, the vampire is a monster. We have to hunt it. So that was funny. And because I also read the Witch and the Vampire, which is like a Rapunzel retelling, is sapphic, and that's YA. I read a lot of YA.
Nice.
I read Salt and Sugar, that is like also a YA book, Rebels to Lovers. That was set in Brazil. That was so fun. I really like. Well, I mean, I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. Because towards the end, it frustrated me. I thought the ending was too fast. It wrapped up too fast after all the conflict that spent. It's kind of a long book, and then it suddenly was like the end, happy ending for everyone. And I was like, no, but whatever. I read The Ghost of Rancho Espanto, and that's a middle grade.
Mm.
And I knew it was gonna be kind of an eerie book, but it's also about like kind of about grief and dealing with a parent that is sick. And I wasn't expecting that, and like the book ended up making me cry.
Oh.
It was I did, that one was so good. I did Breakup for Hell, and
Mm.
I think that one was the one that surprised me the most because I really enjoy it. It's like a horror comedy, and it was like really fun. And I know, Paul, you mentioned something. I don't know, it was on live or maybe we were just talking about it. Like we have some mythology that is like no mythology, but like some beliefs about Catholicism that can be like we can create our own mythology from that. We don't need to go and steal. And I think that book goes with that, like being like about demons and angels and I don't know. It's a horror comedy, so it's kind of poking fun some of the horror tropes. I thought it was great. It was really
Nice.
fun, and I also read High Spirits. That one was a book that I tried to read last year for the bingo, and it's like a short stories connected about a Dominican family, and it was such a good read. Every story follows a different character from like an uncle, a grandparent, a grandchild, and they are all stories about like machismo and identity and sexuality. And I don't know, it was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are those your top reads or
Yes. Well, those are all the books I read. I actually enjoy most all. Okay, the one I finished the last, and I guess I forgot about it. I only disliked one book, and it was the last one I read. So all of them I recommend. Some of them I love more than others, but I really enjoy all of them. Just the last book I read that I didn't mention, and that's the one I didn't like.
nice? I love that for you. I love that that you enjoyed what you read. What about you, Sophie? You read a shit ton of books. So,
Yes.
Yes.
Good job, Sophie.
Thank
yay!
you. I read 16 books, one for each square of the bingo, and I enjoy all of them. Like all of them, I think are 4 stars or more, except for one book. There was just one book that I did not enjoy as much, but it was not like terrible. It was a 3 star, so it wasn't that bad. And my favorites were How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water, which was my favorite out of all of the ones I read, which is about a Dominican woman who lost her job. She's in her 50s, lost her job, and is telling her life story to a job counselor. Um,
Oh,
and I think
Mhm.
it's funny, it's sad, it's all the things. I think it's great because she tells her life story like she's very honest, and at the same time uh, tells the story with some like without artifice, like very like innocently, maybe it's
Mm.
the word. um and she's very complex character, does some things that are very questionable, very questionable. But I couldn't help but root for her. I was like super invested in her story. It was honestly very surprising that it was that good, or that I liked it so much, because I don't read that much literary fiction.
Mm.
Um, so I was surprised that I enjoyed as much. Then things that I expected to enjoy and that I really really did were romance books, because that's what I read the most. So one was a Caribbean Air, how is it?
Iris?
Aries in
Yeah.
Paris by Adriana Herrera,
Oh yeah.
which we talked about it I think last time, um, which I really really enjoy. Historical romance with a Dominican heroine, um, who was a like a businesswoman back
Mm.
in the 1800s, I think,
Yeah.
um, and travels to Paris to, you know, make business. And it doesn't go well. He's not, she's not. Uh, Things are harder than she thought they were going to be. And then she falls in love, and it's a good story.
Hmm.
And then the one I loved, like I really, really love, After Hours on Milagros Street by Angelina M. Torres. And I love that I
Oh.
discovered a new romance author, because now I want to read all her books. Uh, that book was really good. Deals a lot of with gentrification, and it's like very interesting discussions about it um, in the book. And then the final two to wrap up my top five are Vampires of the Norte, which we already talked a lot about, and Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo, which I love. I really love magical realism, um, and these kind of generational stories, especially when they follow different kind of generations of women in a family,
Mm.
and especially when they have very bizarre and funny magical abilities. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
those are my top five books that I read, because I
Yeah.
read too many to talk about all of them.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's
read a
okay. You're fine.
ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. Tell us about the book you
I
read.
read Inundation by Coral Alejandra Moore, which is for work. I want to be open with that. I read it for work, and it was really really good. I I talked about struggling to get through it, but it's not because the book was bad or anything. It's just because my brain was not focusing.
Mm.
But it's this like post-apocalyptic climate disaster story about angels and demons, and it's kind of like uh th- I want to say it has the vibe of like The Mortal Instruments by
Mm.
Cassandra Clare. So like very action packed, a lot of like intrigue, and there's like it's in three different POVs. It's like a omniscient narrator, but there's like
Mhm.
three specific points of views, and it's a really really good. It's a really really good book. What else? What else? What else? I read Vampires of El Norte, and then asked Cande, like right after Sophie left for Taylor Swift, I asked Cande if she had any like recommendations for me, and she said Valentina Salazar is Not a Monster Hunter by Zoraida Cordova. And I read half of that book because when I don't know if you remember, people who are watching, but when Sophie left for Taylor Swift, it was our last reading sprint. So it was, yeah, I had to be uh I don't know. I knew I couldn't like wiggle around with the books because then I would not have been able to finish any. But because when I asked for those recommendations, I was still not done reading Vampires of El Norte. But anyway, I read half of that book, and it is so much fun. I
Mm.
love stories about siblings,
Yes.
period. Like
Yes.
that's the thing. That's I love reading about that, and I love reading middle grade stories where the kid is just very intense and very determined to just accomplish something. Like Valentina reminds me a little bit of Lupe Wong from Lupe Wong
Oh
Wong,
yeah.
because she's like, no, I don't want to dance. I don't want to do this square dance. I want to play an actual sport. We're doing physical education. Why are we dancing? Why are we square dancing? And she's doing everything in her power to not dance.
Yes.
And I like that about Valentina as well. She's very like, but like, why are you guys avoiding the thing that we were trained to do? Why are you pretending that this is not like something that's been important to us for so long? And I read Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. That was Sophie's choice for me. Sorry. Um, it- and oh, it's so good. I honestly, I don't even remember if I read the synopsis. I think it was something like the first sentence says that Flor can tell the future, no, can tell when someone's about to die, but she's decided to host a living wake to celebrate her life just because. According to her, it's just because. And yeah, it's about stories, it's about family, it's about the things that we keep to ourselves. And I really love when women who come from really difficult and like complicated family dynamics are brought together in the way that they are brought together in the book, because it's not just something that they're necessarily talking about to each other. It's
Mm.
something that I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's it was a really refreshing read. And yeah, I really loved all the commentary. And again, for like I mentioned in Vampires of El Norte, where you get unlikable characters or like less than ideal upbringing, and how the characters come out of that and how they're still like struggling with that up upbringing. That's something that's really like that's the entire theme in Family Lore.
Mm. Oh, that sounds interesting. I
Yeah,
can't wait to read it.
it's really really good. And I honestly like I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was like multi-generational, and I knew what Sophie told us about one of the
Yeah.
woman's power.
Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't, with authors that I love, I will buy the book or get it from the library or whatever, and then be like, you can tell me this book is about aliens, and it will like, yes,
Yeah.
sure, why not? Because I have no idea what the story is about, and I will read it anyway. So, yeah, I got the book, and I don't think I have read the synopsis once. So when somebody said like magical powers, I was like, wait, what? And
I
then
know, me
you were
too.
talking about what the story, and I was like, wait, what? And that's fine. I still
Yeah.
don't know what the story is about, so
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna read it anyway.
That one is so good. I love that everybody has a distinct voice. Like they're
Uh-huh.
all, because again, there's it's a mainly about three sisters, four, four,
Four,
sorry,
four
Mm-hmm.
four
sisters.
sisters, and they had the same parents, but they come out of that upbringing really differently. And
Mm.
I like that there's this, I don't know, I've been focusing a lot on like little sister, little sibling stories, because I am the bigger sister, and so I tend to empathize a lot with the older ones.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, and I think it started with It Sounds Like This by Ana Mariano, that I've been like eating up the little sister, little sibling stories, that I'm like, oh, justice for the little siblings, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like this one plays into that uh I guess stereotype of like each person, each sibling characteristic, each sibling trait. And it does it in such an interesting way, because again, these are they're in their 70s, right? They're, I think only one of
Oh,
them is like in their 50s.
oh
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's that's very interesting. Now I'm even more excited because
Yeah.
I one of the books I started reading for the bingo, but I didn't finish. And I talked about it in the last night. Candelaria also has like a character in her 80s, and I don't think I have read that many books with like older characters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really brings something else to the story. It's just very interesting.
It is. It was really really good. And I don't know, because I haven't read Clap When You Land, but I know Clap When You Land is about two half sisters,
Mm.
and I think family lore sort of expands on that like complicated aspect of upbringing and the lies that men tell and the lies that women choose to tell in order to protect themselves, in order to protect their families. It's, I don't know, like it made me want to read Clap When You
Oh
Land.
yeah,
And it
clap
might
when you
be
land.
completely different from it, but I like the, but like it's the thing that I tell myself.
Mhm. Yeah, clap when you land is. I think it's my favorite Elizabeth Severo book.
I was just
I
thinking the
Ooh,
same thing.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
just
goodness.
I think Elizabeth really knows how to make a complex story because it's about grief. Like how do you grieve with for your father when you find out that he lied to you your entire life? And
Yeah.
not only have you have to like wrap your head around your father was lying and he was a completely different person, you also have to grieve him, and it is such a complex thing, and it just the story made me cry and laugh, and I think it's beautiful. Yeah, it's my favorite part.
Interesting. I've read two of hers. I've read, oh well, no, that's a lie. I've read three. Family Lore, The Poetics, and When With the Fire on High. And I really like all of those. So I need to read Clap When You Land. Now that I'm hearing it's a great freaking, oh, it's not that expensive. Okay. You guys, I need to stop. Because it's already starting my search for cheap books.
Bob is buying books again.
Yeah.
I know it's bad. It's bad. It's awful. Um, but yes, I think, yeah, I need to read more Elizabeth Acevedo. Is that, those are not her only four books, right? She's written at least another one.
I think it's a
I
poetry
yeah, I
book.
think I have read her for books, and yeah, the rest I think it's poetry
Oh, okay.
or
Okay.
short stories in collections.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah. Mm. Yeah,
Oh, I
her
just noticed
her
that.
books are always good.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Honestly, yeah. And last, well, actually all of 2020 and 2021, 2022, I was dying to buy the Write Yourself a Lantern journal that's like
Mm.
inspired by the Poetex,
Yeah.
and I still really want to buy it, but I don't know how it, like if it's less expensive now than it was before.
Maybe.
Okay, it's 300 pesos, not too bad. Okay, maybe one day. No, but yes, Elizabeth Acevedo is a queen. I love that we have more Latinx author royalty, because I just, there's just those authors that you've read once and you're like, yes, absolutely, every single time.
Okay, I
Mm.
want to know yours then. Latinx author that you read once, maybe twice, and then you're like, I will read everything by them.
Zoraida Cordova,
Okay.
Anna Mary McLemore,
But you have read but
and
you have read more books from them, not
Oh,
just
that's
one
right.
or two. You have
oh,
read a lot of books from them.
Oh, okay. You mean like the ones that I've read once and now I want to read the rest
Yes,
of their catalog?
yes.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
I already told you mine, Angelina Lopez,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
which I
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
discovered, and I'm looking forward to reading her next book.
Oh, you know who? Katrina Jackson. Oh, she's not Latinx. Never mind. Let me shut up. Liana de la Rosa. I've only read two of her books. I read, oh my God, I read one historical one, The Lady, something about a lady, and I read The Captain's Midwinter Bride. Oh my God,
Oh,
really, really good. Historical, mostly, not mostly, absolutely, always Regency. Um, and yeah, I really want to read her Penguin book, the Ana
Rosa something?
Maria and the Fox.
Yeah,
how? Yes, I know the cover. I
yeah.
also want to read that one. Yes,
Yes,
I
yes,
think
that's my number one.
I think for me it's Donna Barbara because I read the last Cuentista and it's like one of my top favorite books ever. And I really want to read her new book, Alebrijes. And I feel like it doesn't matter what she writes, I'm gonna read it because that book, The Last
Yay!
Cuentista, is just one of my top books ever. I I think it really shows what media grade can do. And I kind of what you were talking about Paul before, like with media grade you can be funny, but
Yeah,
also be dealing with a lot of heavy topics that maybe that tone of being like haha get funny it wouldn't work with maybe with a YA book or with adult because it's like this is serious. What are you doing?
yeah,
But with media grade, you can be funny, but also be like, okay, so what happens? What it what it means for Earth to be destroyed? What it means to
yeah,
lose the humanity is gone. And I think like that's something that sometimes science fiction can be like, okay, so what happened? How happened? What we're gonna do next? But this book is more about like, okay, what it means. How do you move forward now? And that's why it's such a good book. And every time I can be like, read it, I'm like,
I
yes. If there
I
is one book,
started I started for the readathon, but I just had the feeling that it was gonna be heavy and sad, and so I was like, I
yeah.
read up to the point where they wake up again after
Oh,
the.
yeah. It is a very sad
everyone
book.
who's read it has cried. No
Oh,
lie.
yeah. I think it's just because it's uh I think that's one of the reasons I think it's just a good book because sometimes it's a very common science fiction trope being like, okay, humanity's been destroyed and all of humans now live in this little spaceship. Okay, but what it means to have Earth been destroyed?
Mhm.
And it is a heavy book because you're dealing with a lot of loss and grief. And but I think it still it gets to be hopeful. I talk a lot, so for warning, yeah, you're gonna cry. Well, at least I cry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, our friend Rocky, Raquel Marie. I loved Ophelia After All, and I loved, oh my God, the soccer one. What's
You
it
don't
called?
you don't have a
You Don't
shot.
Have a Shot.
Yes.
That one. I really loved both, and I know the third one, or her third book, is about, like, hones in a lot more about grief and loss and
Yes,
friendship, and the cover is absolutely stunning.
it's a little.
So yeah,
And it sounds so good. I remember when I
yeah,
read the synopsis for that one, I was like, I need to read it now.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I need this book. I don't remember from the top of my head, but yeah, that book sounds fantastic.
yeah.
yeah.
Same. Yeah, I don't like. I'm struggling to think if there's anyone else, but I know, like,
I I
I
have
know I
another.
haven't read Nina Moreno, so I need to read her. Like, that is my number one priority in.
Wait, you haven't read? not even one of her books.
I read a little bit of Our Way Back to Always.
Disappointed, Bella.
I know. I suck. I know. Every time I'm like, what is the like this is not a joke cuz she is the beginning of the Latinx
Yes.
book community. Like
Yes.
I feel like she and Zoraida are the
Yes,
ones that
and you
everybody.
know, I kind of love that from Zoraida we got YA, we got her in romance, and we got her in middle grade because
Yeah.
that's all what I like to read. And now
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I got Nina in YA, I got Nina in middle grade. I need Nina to write a romance book,
I
and I
know.
know it's gonna be fantastic. So please, Nina, just write me a romance book.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I do need to read Nina's books. I'm awful. I feel awful that I haven't read any book by her. Yeah, it's bad. It's really really bad.
Yeah. I
What
have
about
another one.
you have
I was
a
just thinking,
must-have?
what?
You have a
What did,
must-have need to read author that you haven't?
yeah, you just talked about her, Raquel Marie. I haven't read. I still haven't read.
I haven't read it yet. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you haven't read you don't have a shot?
No. I own both of them, like, and but yeah, I haven't read it.
Oh
That
no.
that's the one that makes me feel shame for not
Yes,
having that.
yes, I know. Same. And I'm trying to look at my little pile over here of the books I said I was gonna read for the bingo, because I know
Yeah,
there are
that was
many
on my
more.
TBR. That was Ophelia After All was on my TBR, and I did not read it.
Yeah, and the other author I really want to read, because I honestly own all of her books and I haven't read one, is Crystal Maldonado.
Yes.
Fine Chance, Fat Chance, Charlie Vega, and No Filters and Other Lies. And her new book I got as an audiobook. So I'm like, just read her.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many. Like I know he's not super like I don't see enough people raving about him, but also Daniel Jose Older.
Oh yeah.
I really want to read the the YA ones for Rick Riordan
Oh yeah,
present.
me too. Yes.
Yeah. I also just really like him in general. I think he's a really valuable voice in the book community. So him definitely.
Yeah, no, he is.
And I mean Amparos I've read all of her books except for Saving Chupi and
I need to
the
read.
anthology. I haven't read the
I
anthology.
need to read the second book in the
Yeah, me too. I need to read that one.
Royal Rat games.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that one. Oops, I sorry I lied. I haven't read that one. But yeah, I
And,
just
and I love the first one. Like love the
Oh
first one.
yeah, it was such a good book. Yes.
And I haven't read the second one yet.
Yeah, I feel like Amparo is such a also like a strong voice in the book community too. Like her Blizzard Games, it's like such a phenomenal fantasy book, and her middle grade graphic novel Saving Tupi was also so good. Um, yes, I need to read book too. And also, I never. Are you guys part of the can they need to finish Nocturna hype train?
Yes, yes.
oh my
Because
I was part of it.
god.
I
But
finished Nocturna, but I
I
haven't read Oculta. And the Lucero, it's a third book, is coming out in December.
I haven't read the second one yet.
Oh, okay. So then we're fine.
There's
You
a
can
third one.
yell me.
Oops.
Yes. And I hate how that series hasn't got it doesn't have the love it deserves. Nocturne is so good. I feel like that book had came out a couple years ago. Book Twitter had put like eat it. I mean, it's everything Book Twitter love. And
Yeah.
they compare it to Victoria shot, is it? No.
Victoria.
Yeah,
Um,
be
the dark,
sharp.
Yeah, B.
yeah,
Shrub
yes, the dark, a dark shade.
of
Didn't
something
remember.
about magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and they compared it to that and said like, oh, it's the same book, it's a copycat. No, it's not, because this is also about like colonization and the Dominican, like based on Dominican mythology and culture. And another excellent book that I don't think it got the love it deserved.
I have to read that one. I haven't read it. Nocturna. I think I own it. Where's my?
Well, everyone was bullying me about it like
Yeah, I
years ago,
remember.
and
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one who didn't read it. But my problem was I never, I got scared and I didn't finish it. So everyone was like, "Can I just please go and finish the book?" And I was like, "No, I can't." I finished it, but I haven't read Occulta yet, and I felt like a lot of people didn't, or at least I didn't see a lot of people talking about Oculta. So I don't know if that's people didn't
I think
like
it's
it or
just.
just they didn't read it.
I think it's just because it came out. Let's see. I
I
think it came out in 2020, so that
Oh,
might
it was a
be a
pandemic
reason.
then. It killed it.
Because I think I have. I think I have Oculta. Oh my god, why isn't it? Sorry. I think I have Oculta. I think I got it from NetGalley, and I was like, I'll
Oh,
read the first one eventually, which is my favorite thing to say. It's my favorite lie.
okay.
Oh, it came out on April 2021.
Oh,
So I'm going to assume that not a lot of people heard about it because that one it came out when people still cared about the pandemic. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What other book do I have that? Hmm. Oh, you know who's getting a lot of attention now that I really love? Freidy's Moon from like
Oh,
your indie
mm, yes.
independently publishing books. And I've read I've read one. I've read Exodus 23 and I was in the process of reading with a vengeance before my reading slump, but they are also incredibly good with words and they also write horror, gothicy, creepy, eerie vibes, recommending them. Um,
Yeah.
who
You know
else?
who else? Uh, I just read for the readathon The Haunting of Alejandra,
Oh,
that I think
yes.
launched Di Castro
Yeah,
to be known by a bigger audience.
Yeah,
But I
because
have read I had read before Goddess of Filth, I think it was called. And I like that one too. I like The Haunting of Alejandra more, but both of them were really good. And a
yeah.
close friend of mine just read Queen of Cicadas and loved it.
Ooh,
yes.
So that's my next read from
good to
from them.
know. Also, Agustina Becerrica.
Mm, yes, yes.
Becerrica. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but yes, her. I yeah, I think as soon as I finish Valentina Salazar, I'm gonna read the 19 Claws and something something that book because I
Mm-hmm.
was really liking it, but it was taking me a long time to read just because it's a very different kind of book.
Right.
But it's also like horror-y, creepy, weird. Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like kind of hate book readers that now because I feel like I don't know what people are reading right now. Like
Yeah.
I
No.
use Instagram, but the algorithm sucks. So I see like four accounts and that's it.
Yeah.
And I so I'm like, is are people even reading right now? Because I don't even know what people are reading. I like before I would be like, oh yeah, this is the next author that everyone loves right now, and now I can't tell you who it is because I feel
Yeah.
like
No.
I don't know who.
No. Me neither. Me neither. I
Uh,
know. Like I know Emily Henry is a big one in romance.
Yes.
And I might try her just because Marines has
Hmm.
liked her books, but
But I feel like she already had a lot of books. So
oh
I
yeah,
feel like I want to
as
know
in
who are
debut,
the
you mean?
debut. Yes, that everyone is like excited about, that everyone is reading, and I don't know. Like I feel like last last bingo, it was like Aiden Thomas that everyone was reading with their new book.
I think
But
those
now,
two bingos ago.
yeah. Oh, two. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, I was like, that was last year. Yeah, but you're right because it wasn't last year. And now who is it? Who is everyone reading? I
I
want
don't
to
know.
know.
I don't know. I know Johnny Garzavilla is getting a lot of hype,
Oh, I love
but
that.
also like they've already debuted. They debuted in
That
2021.
too. And I know Taylor K. Mejia had one book came out this year, and I don't
Yes.
Yeah.
think that
Oh my
one
god,
got a
dude!
lot of
Taylor K.
attention.
Mejia is also a combo. Like they just released an
Um,
adult romance, and
yes.
they have a
But I feel,
duology YA.
but I
They
feel no
have
one has read that book,
No, I
and that's
haven't
a
seen
shame.
anyone
one
read
in
it.
Yeah.
Sammy
The
Garcia or
adult,
Espinosa,
the yeah,
Yeah,
the adult
I
one.
saw it on the
the adult.
bookstore the other day, but I remember that it came out like over the summer, I think,
Yeah,
and I was like, wait, hold on, I didn't see anyone talking about this book, and I'm not saying people are not reading Latinx authors. It's just I don't see it, and it's very frustrating.
yeah,
Like I think the only book I saw a lot of people talking about is Silvia Moreno Garcia, but like I know
yeah,
her and I love her. I just want
No,
to know who are the new ones.
yeah,
yeah,
I haven't seen the new ones. Like I saw a lot of people reading Family Lore when it came out,
Yes,
but it's the authors that are really already like
everyone
established.
loves. Like, and
yeah,
I
Yeah,
also saw a little bit of hype, not a lot, but like Krista Maldonado with her new book, and but like yes, I
yeah.
love
They're
that.
yeah. It's not the same. It's not
It's
the
only
same.
I'm like before we tweeted, I will know who were the books to watch out for next year, the books that everyone is excited about, and like again, I don't say people are not reading. It's just I don't see it, and I hate
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's probably a mix of the algorithm, the fact that people are dealing with a lot of burnout right now,
Yes.
and just like the fact that publishers are getting shittier and shittier at
Oh yeah,
promoting
that too.
diverse books.
And I feel like that makes me because I was thinking about this because I feel like I'm running around in a circle and just reading the authors and I know. And
Yeah,
I love that for me, but also not because then you always keep I keep inside the same voices,
yeah,
and I didn't do that. Um, but when I try, so for the bingo, I try to go and look for new authors, and I realized that everything I had on my TBR were authors I was familiar with, or authors that already have like more books came out, but I haven't read them, but they were on my TBR. So it wasn't nothing like, oh, this is a debut author.
that was what happened with me and that post I made of 47 romance books that came out in 20 or are coming out in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was making my TBR, putting together my TBR, I was like, I usually pick a lot of romance because it's what I like to read. And I saw that I had the same people that I already had read. And I also noticed that a lot of the authors I used to read haven't released books in the last
Mm,
year or 2 years. And so
yeah,
I had a very small like group of people that I could read,
yeah.
and that's why I went looking for like who are the new people.
The
yes.
new people, yeah. I also feel like we're running out of. Well, that's not true because I know Gabby puts a lot of work into what she's
Mm-hmm.
doing, but I feel like before there were multiple like go-to people
Yes.
so that you can find a romance or YA or whatever. There were people
Yeah,
that you could go
and
to,
mm-hmm.
and now there's not a lot anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's what you said before about like burnout. I feel like a lot of bloggers and people who will like compile lists are gone from like doing that because it really was like an exhausting job that got very very like people wouldn't like would be like
It's just a lot of work. It's a thankless job,
that. Yes, that's
and
what I was trying to say. Yes.
and in general, I don't think it's like we don't have as great etiquette as before, or we need to like restore the etiquette, because I would really love if more people were like, I read this because of Gabby, I read this because of Sofia, I read this because of Cande, so that we can, like, I think that highlights the author and the book and the person who put together the list and went through these, like, really, it's not just exhausting, but it's also really manial, because like you could just like retweet or reblog or whatever if you wanted to, but the fact that people compile actual lists, it's a really manial job that I don't think enough people recognize as manial. Oh no, Candace gone.
Oh, I think she will come back in a second.
Yes,
But yeah, I think, and
because you
maybe
used to do that too.
I used, yeah, and I used to do before. I used to do a lot of lists like that, and I also used to do before the Latinx book bingo. I used to do this huge list that were 100, 150 books, uh,
Yeah, it was wild.
recommendations. Um, but yeah, no, that takes too much time, and I felt like not that many people read them
Yeah.
or interact with them, or So I was like, no.
Yeah, not enough
I
people care. It's weird.
But I also think it was in like a part of it was that I was posted it on my blog, and I feel like book blogs are dying. Like there's
Yeah.
not. I still
Yeah.
do it from time to time, like post something because I have had my blog for years and years and years, and it's more for me than for anyone else. So usually it's wrap ups. So I have mini reviews of the books I have read in the last like 7 8 years or something like that. And so it's more for me for having like a place where all that information is.
Mm-hmm.
But now I really liked, and that's why I have been going back to Bookstagram, because I really liked and I really felt like people appreciated like that this list I made of the romance releases of 2023 by Latinx authors. So many people share it, so many people comment, so many people saved it. So I kind of felt the the appreciation for it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I do think I liked the dynamic on Bookstagram more. Like I think
Yeah.
people engage more, or at least share it to others more. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more shareable, but yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more shareable, but I also find, I don't know. Like I haven't been active anywhere, like literally in for like since the end of 2021. Um and I don't know, I just really enjoy the platforms that are dying, which is sad, because I really loved book Twitter when I was still active on Twitter. I really love booktube, and I really love book blogs. I just find it so much richer
Yeah,
than Instagram.
Mm.
definitely,
But
definitely.
Yeah.
But But
I don't know.
I also understand why. Like people don't have the time to read a super long blog post or watch a super long video, but maybe just a few pictures with recommendations on Instagram. It's okay. So I kind of
Yeah.
understand why, but at the same time, yeah, I love blogging so much more than anything else. And I
Yeah.
also think, especially on Instagram, um, this idea or this of having to have the physical books You see the Instagram accounts that have 1,000, like thousands and thousands of followers, are the ones that have a bunch of books, like physical books, and I'm like, babe, I live in Colombia. I do not have the money.
Mhm.
Like with the exchange rate for money, there's no way. There's no way. So yeah, ebooks and audiobooks are the thing. So, and that definitely does not work as well on Bookstagram. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
no.
it has a
Either
lot of
that or like
sarcasm.
really.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you guys can hear me, right? Because I,
Yes.
my computer died, so I had to switch to my phone. But I didn't even realize that I wasn't charging the computer. Well, whatever. But uh, I kind of feel the same. That's why also like I feel so disconnected from like the book community right now, and I don't know what people are reading because I feel like I'm so like I don't even know what's going on. Like,
Yeah,
with
I'm so glad that
with
we're talking
the
about this.
yeah, like with the book community, not like with the war, but like with the book community. I like I just I don't know. And but I feel like because I have been reading way less than I used to. I'm I felt like book Twitter was one a big part of what I could connect with people, and that is that because it
Yeah.
between the algorithm and people leaving, it doesn't work the same. I used to blog and read a lot of blogs, and like some people saying, a lot of people stop blogging, and now it's just Instagram, and even in there, the algorithm sucks. So I don't even see
Yeah.
the people want to see, and so I don't know what people are doing right now. And I'm reading way less, so I feel like I'm also like running around reading the same authors, and I don't know. I think kind of talk about it on Instagram a couple of months ago, but I don't really feel like a content creator anymore. Like I stopped blogging. I stopped book Twitter doesn't exist anymore, and I don't feel like a bookstagrammer anymore. And I'm like I will come and talk about books, but I don't. It doesn't bring me the joy it used to. And like I hate it because I love talking about books, and I that was my favorite part, like connecting with other people and talking all about all the stories we love and all the books we hate. And now I kind of feel like that's gone. And
Yeah.
like I guess we have to move on because I was really hoping with all of those uh when all those new apps came, like, oh, it's gonna be like we treated again, and it's really not. That's gone, and it makes me very nostalgic, and I hate it because
Yeah.
it was also it could be an awful place. But I'm like an old person, be like, oh, on my times, it was
Yeah. No,
better.
I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. Yeah. I'm really glad that we're talking about this because I felt so lonely. Like I'm like, there's no even booktubeathon. There's no big readathon that everybody comes around to do. There's not a place where we can share the like with a functioning algorithm where you could
Yeah,
find
that's a
your
big problem.
people. It's really sad that that's gone now. Like it's awful because like we know and you know we should talk offline and stuff. Even with those people we don't like,
Yeah,
it was still like there was so much good amidst the bad. I would say it was a lot more good than it was bad, and now it's just nothing. Like it's not even bad, it's just nothing,
yeah,
and it's awful. Like I don't even know what to do anymore. Like with more authors talking about book banning and stuff. I'm like, I would love to share my platform, but nobody sees my videos. Like I don't even know how I could be of help. And I know that that help even is not substantial enough. Because like I guess in the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was like, "Oh no, we need to talk about books because of this and da 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 da." And now more than ever that we need to talk about books, the algorithm is suppressing that
Mm.
just by the way that it's made, and it's, I don't know, it's just like it's a cage. It's a cage. I feel caged in what I thought I was able
Yeah,
to do.
and I think because also we have seen authors talk more about how especially like Bible authors talking about how their books are getting less help of publishers
Yeah.
and they're getting less support than before. It just feels so pointless sometimes. Like we are here, we have always been here, like book bloggers and booktubers talking about diverse books, and now it just feels like we are yelling, screaming to a boy, because
Yeah,
no one is
No,
hearing us, and but we are here reading those books,
yeah,
supporting this
but I don't
author,
know.
and now it feels like even like I know it's no one's. I mean, it's this companies and the algorithm's fault, but like it's not our fault or the author's fault or it's
Yeah.
the publisher's fault. But it just feels like you were saying, Paul, like it just feels very empty and lonely. Like I even a book reader with all his fault, I was I thought a book reader like a book community that I didn't have in real life, and well, I don't even have like a book community in real life right now, and
Yeah.
I was very lonely at the time. I have just moved to the United States, and I felt lonely, and
yeah,
I found with with friends online a place where I felt like I belong. And now I feel like that lost, and I'm very happy for everyone who decide to leave social media and like go, and because book critic could be a very bad place, but also
yeah,
miss having that community, like
yeah,
having a moment where we, like you were saying, like a readathon that everyone participate, a moment, an event that we all could talk about, and it's all gone.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I definitely
We're
feel
gonna say
like,
something.
yeah, no, I was just thinking that I definitely feel like we as a community have kind of lost strength. And I understand what Candy said has like, or maybe makes a lot of sense. People got tired. It was very toxic on book Twitter sometimes. People left. But I do think the 2019 2020 era, where
Yeah,
we as a community were so strong, was the time when what at least I felt like where publishers start to kind of invest more on books
Mm.
that and on diverse book and specifically Latinx books. I feel like so I definitely think that it's not only that we miss our friends
yeah,
and the more kind of friendship side of that community, but also I think we have felt the impact in the books we are getting, um, and how
the kind
much
of people that are
publicity.
getting boosted too. Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I feel like it will always be like a highlight from the book community. But remember how we made Nina feel so seen in her debut, and
yeah,
it didn't. We didn't even need to hit like she didn't hit like as a bestseller list. It didn't matter. What mattered is that that day all of Twitter was yellow for Rosa, and
yes,
she felt like everyone was paying like attention to her book, and we make her feel so well, and we never been able to that like that support to new authors is kind of gone, like not
yeah,
yeah,
because of
yeah,
people because there are still so many bloggers and booktubers and bookstagrammers and book talkers. I not even in there, but I know there are people still supporting authors, but it just feels like I don't know the algorithm. It's just or the publishers. I don't know. It's so it feels like it's not there anymore, and I feel sad for the new authors that may feel like no one cares
yeah.
anymore, and we do,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's been really hard and really weird because again, as much as people love to shit on book Twitter, I found most of my voice there, and I found most of my friends there, and I think it's the only place where you could really see this, like trying to bring people to like accountability, to push people. I like the algorithm worked way better. The Everything was just way better on Twitter than it is, or than it could ever be on Bookstagram. I personally only stopped using Twitter when it became unusable. Like
Yeah, it is. It is. It is so.
I didn't even see I didn't even see people's posts. I was only seeing like
Yeah.
ads and people's likes and people with a like based on your likes, and it was awful. And Instagram has always been like that. Like
Mm.
Instagram has been based on your likes, uh, ads, and based on what other people you follow. Uh, that's been the algorithm since before Elon Musk took over Twitter.
Yeah.
So I don't even know like what the solution could be, and I don't know, like, because I also really dislike that the books that pop off, like I can think like Rebecca Jarros, I can think Emily Henry, Taylor Jenkins Reid. They're all, first of all, white, and they're books that are not something that calls everybody's attentions other than the mainstream, and they're books that
Mm.
don't need any more pushing.
Yeah. And I feel like I know in
Yeah.
book talk there are a lot of people, um, marginalized people, like trying to promote marginalized authors. But it also look at the table from the bookstores being like book talk sensations. They're all the books we read in 2010.
Yeah,
Like it's not new books. I read them, and like I'm not saying we can read all books, and I'm not saying that there is magic with new readers discovering all books, but like yes, we all know the Hunger Games. We
Yeah.
all know about that. We know about Six of Crows. It's like, can we talk about something new?
yeah. Or even and I think this is also a product of publishers being shittier,
Yeah.
but the way I got so mad at the 23 in 23 challenge, that have you heard about this, Sophie?
Yeah.
The like read 23 books by 20 by BIPOC authors. I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
guys, what? You haven't been doing this already? What's going on? Like it feels like we're reverting instead of moving forward.
Yeah, and I,
It's
okay,
weird.
I know that was created by romance authors, and I think what they were trying to say, and to me it was obvious because it, like that wasn't what we were all doing, but I thought we were doing this before, but like something they did mention when they created the challenge was it's not about just the books you read, it's about the books you're promoting in your algorithm. And I was like, yes,
Yeah,
I thought we all knew this. And
yeah,
okay, I know, and it's good to say out loud for people who didn't realize, but I was like, I thought we all understood that if we create list and only put like two black actors, I promise you, most people will read all the white actors before getting to the black actors. So
yeah,
instead of making a diverse list, you can just make your list and it's all diverse books. Like I thought that was something that we all were doing, but I guess not.
yeah.
And
And I notice even people who already prioritized BIPOC authors were still joining, and were still, I feel like they were making more of an effort to promote those books than to create a separate list to read from, because at least again the people that I follow that were taking part in 23 and 23 were already reading diversely. They
Yes.
were trying to either read more diversely or to promote their books more, which again is a circle. Like it's a cycle of like I'm trying to promote but nobody sees it. I'm trying to do this and it's
Yeah.
just I don't know. I don't
And
even know what the solution
I
is.
I feel
But
like
I definitely
I don't. Yeah, go ahead, Sophie.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I know why. I don't blame the outdoors trying to
Yeah, no.
tell people, like, promote our books more because the algorithm is taking what you're giving it, and I think that's a fair enough thing to say. Because I know it's not to us. Like, I know they're not telling us to us who read the books and talk about them. They're telling to the other people,
Yeah.
white people, that not reading the books and not promoting that. But sometimes, yeah, it just, I guess there is not an easy solution, and that's why it's also like so
Yeah.
frustrating.
I didn't like, yeah, my first reaction was what exactly like yours, Paul. Like, oh my god. But honestly, I know I didn't hate it. I saw some big creators have some smart reflections and some like when you see people understood what others
Yeah.
were telling them and saying, okay,
Hmm.
yes. And some very big creators too. Well, okay, maybe not for Bookstagram. I'm not used to Bookstagram numbers. I'm
Yeah.
used to block numbers. so
Yes.
um so I don't hate it. I think those few people and those few people with influence that got it are going to have an impact
Yeah.
on what people read. So
Yeah.
you know what, we need to start somewhere. I know for
Yeah.
us it's
I
like, oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah, yeah.
you know, for
It
us
was
it's like,
more of a it was more of a huh? Like cuz
yeah,
I don't know, cuz at least the people that I follow again, based on my followers, based on the authors both readers and authors were already doing that, like reading
mhm,
diversely, promoting diversely and stuff that I was like if other people are not already prioritizing you in 2023, then like in my head it was like what's the point, but I'm really glad that other people are getting it.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think I took it like Sophie. Like, I thought this is not directed to me,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's for someone else, and it is for someone else who needs to hear it right now, because I know I'm not gonna take the extra work. I'm not gonna put more less. I'm not gonna make more recommendations because I know this is what I already do,
Yeah.
and I'm working. I always work with this, and like, it's not like I'm patting myself on the back and saying I'm perfect. Like, I can always do better, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna make compile tons of lists for people who never pick up a book by a Latinx author, so now they can come and pick it up because we told them it's time. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do that, and but I if this got to the people who could do this and start reading and promoting books they maybe don't talk about as often, then it's
Yeah,
good.
it's a good thing.
Great.
It's a
Awesome.
good thing.
Because we need more help. Like, and I think that's the reason a lot of people left. And I know it because of talking with friends who like left book blogging and bookstagram. It's that they got tired of just doing so
yeah,
much work for nothing.
Yeah.
So we need more help. Like, I know there are like such a big accounts on Bookstagram and like now a book talk, and like, yeah, you guys can take take the weight. Now it's your time because we
Yeah.
all tired. It's
yeah,
your time now.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I feel like I came back for a
Yeah.
selfish reason, and it was that I was not doing like I was not very like around. I was not posting. I was not, but that meant that the books I was hearing about were really popular books. I mean, very white books. and
Yes.
I started to notice, like, slowly I was reading more and more books by Y authors, because those were the books I was hearing about, by being kind of away from the community. And when I,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I was like, no, 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 I have to go back to my people, to the people to talk about
Yeah.
books, the other books, the books that are not in the New York Times bestsellers and the most popular books
Yeah, and
out
I
there.
I did see a couple weeks ago, I think it was, that the New York Times bestseller was all white authors, like all of them,
Yeah,
and it's like I, you know, I thought that was over. Like I know, like I know it's not over. Like it's not a fight that you fight one day and it's a war, right? And you're over and it's done. I know, no, it doesn't work that way. But I thought that we all understood how important was to support diverse authors every day, every time, and
yeah,
it kind of slide. Like publishers are doing whatever. Like every day I hear more about authors talking about how the publishers are sucking even more than they did before. Like how? Like
yeah,
even did you guys see a Scholastic being like they're done? You can opt out of the diverse list now.
Yeah.
And they so for book banning, and I'm like, you're a publisher, you're supposed to be fighting book banning. No, in I know there was an article talking about how there are only most of the book banning happening in the US. It's just like 10 people doing it. 10 people are managing to completely ruin the book fairs all over the country. That's wild. Like, how is that
yeah,
even possible?
Yeah,
yeah,
literally, how is that even that's the scary part. That's the scary part. And I'm even like more terrified that Scholastic itself was like, do you want us to bring diverse books or not? Like that should not even be an option. Like that to me
yeah,
sounds
Yeah,
so
and
pandering and
in
cowardly.
a yes, and they have the power to fight it. Like it's just 10 people, and you can fight it. Like you're maybe not the richest publisher in the world, but like you are a big entity. You're
But
not
they're
like
top,
a lonely author in the
yeah,
they're big
forest
five, no?
alone.
I think.
Scholastic.
I think they're big five. It's
Oh yeah,
Penguin,
I don't
Harper,
know. I
Simon.
was always confused about that. I don't know.
I think
So then you're a big
Stars.
one.
but I don't think.
I don't know. They have a lot of money, but
They
but yeah,
do.
like it's strange. It's really
And
strange that a private
it
institution.
made me, yeah, and it made me very sad because I saw the other day that Jamila Saimenda said that she went to the book fair, and her books, she's Scholastic is her publisher. Her books weren't there. Like, is that terrible? Like, how is your publisher not getting your books out?
That's awful. No,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember when I told you guys I went to Houston last year, and I went to a Barnes and Noble. Well, okay, the indie bookstores had like two, three, tops five copies of Anna's books, Anna Mariano's books.
Hmm.
But Barnes and Noble had none. No new releases. Like I'm not even joking. I didn't see I used to interview authors a lot, especially in 2020 and 2021.
Mm-hmm.
2022, I think I also interviewed quite a few people. None of those people were in that Barnes and Noble. It made no sense to me. And it's still like even like Barnes and Noble since last year were like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We're not carrying diverse titles unless people ask for it. Ask for it, babe. Just like in general, people don't read. Like the entire world in general does not read for fun. How are they supposed to know what to ask for?
Yeah, and I know the point is being like you get so tired that you give up. Like y- we shouldn't give up, but sometimes it feels like, well, social media doesn't help, publishers doesn't
No.
help,
the booksellers and those big Barnes and Noble stores don't help. I mean, what's it even the point then? I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah, it's been dark. It's been, yeah, it's been really, really sad. But which is why I'm really happy that we do get to do Latinx book bingo, and it's the whole month, because I know a lot of readathons are like 1 week or 2 weeks. I like that it's a whole month, and I like that it's focused, because I know sometimes when it's like diverse books in general, there can be a lot of escape routes by reading, for example, white queer people,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
have their place. I know white queer people are also getting banned and getting censored and all of that. Um, but I'm not gonna pretend uh, that it doesn't target Black people, Asian people, visibly non-white people more than it does anyone else.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so yeah. But okay, we've been talking for 2 hours, so I'm gonna cut it here. We can hang out a little bit. I mean, we can hang out after I set the live on end. But thank you for anyone who joined. If you loved Vampires of El Norte, definitely let the people know. We just talked about the importance of promoting promoting Latinx books. And Isabel Cañas is a sophomore author. Like, she's still relatively new. So share about it, share about the books that you've been reading, read diversely, read books by Black authors, Asian authors, Latinx authors, and yeah, spread the word, because publishers are not doing that. Uh, thank you for watching, and we will see you in another one. Goodbye.
Hi.
Bye.